Mulan is Disney's latest live-action remake that comes to their streaming service this weekend after a long delay due to the pandemic. Just like the original animation, this tells the story of a young woman who takes the place of her father at war. He's older and he's injured, and he will most likely die if he goes to war, so she pretends to be a man, suits up, and goes off to battle. Unlike the original animation, this film doesn't have the spirits of Mulan's ancestors, nor does it have a dragon named Mushu voiced by Eddie Murphy, or a little cricket. This time around, there's a soldier named Cricket. Christina Aguilera's new rendition of Reflection appears during the end credits. It's not in the movie. There's no songs at all. It's PG-13. There's battle sequences. This is something that I was actually very excited about. I reviewed the original animation earlier this year when this film was going to come out. I was very much looking forward to seeing this movie. The original animation is one of my favorite Disney movies of the 90s. But this movie is inferior to that film in virtually every way. One of the biggest problems with this film is that it seems to omit certain things that are integral to the story, or at least to the characters and their journey through the story. And it relies on our knowledge of the 1998 animation to fill in those gaps. There's a scene in that animation that is so great, and it's still one of my favorite Disney scenes. It's when Mulan decides to go off to war in the middle of the night. She takes that sword, she cuts her hair, she puts on that armor. This incredible music by Jerry Goldsmith is playing. It's very epic, and you understand just how important this choice is for this character, that this choice is going to define their life, and it's going to potentially end their life or bring dishonor to their whole family. You really feel the weight of that moment in the animation, whereas in this film, it honestly cuts directly into a scene where she's already got the armor on. We don't even get to see her put it on. She takes her sword out and points it into the lens, and that's the scene. Then she just rides off into the night. You never feel the dramatic impact of this choice that she's making, just how much that's going to mean to her life, to her family's life, the change, the evolution of this character. You don't feel any of it. It's just thrown away. And there are so many scenes like that feel like they have missing information. There's one integral moment where she's on the battlefield, and she's trying to help all of her soldiers survive, and she looks for a place that has higher ground. We don't see her go to this place. We don't see her choosing this place. It just cuts to her behind a rock, slinging arrows at people. And there's a lot of moments like that where it seems like sequences are missing from the movie, and you're sort of running to catch up. Let's talk about those battle sequences. Some of them are acceptable, but if you've seen films like Hero, Shadow, or Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or The House of Flying Daggers, you've seen it all done better. This movie has very high frame rate action that's over-edited. You can tell they were shooting in high frame rate to later in post choose which shots they wanted to be in slow motion or not. But that high frame rate makes the action look very frenetic in a bad way. Horses are moving really fast, people are running very fast, and it just doesn't look real. It doesn't evoke the time period. It looks too fancy. It doesn't look like it has the grace that some of those great films I already mentioned have. This is a very committee-safe movie. Everything feels very approved. The messages that the movie is going for, while at times very admirable, feel glossed over and insignificant. The film boils down to a lot of lessons learned scenes where a lesson is presented, a character reacts to it, and then suddenly accepts it and realizes that they were wrong. It's a lot of people learning their lessons throughout the film, and it never really feels like it has that impact it's going for. This is definitely an attempt to tell a more realistic version of the Mulan tale, and many people have attempted to tell this tale before, not just Disney, but this is obviously a film that's going for more realism than the first one, removing the musical sequences, removing the talking dragon, removing the cricket, all of that's gone. There's battle sequences, and there's not a drop of blood, and everyone's speaking English. So the film really lost me for its attempts at realism. And it's like Disney is afraid that people just won't like subtitled movies. Come on, Parasite just won Best Picture. Now, I watched this film with my wife, and she mentioned something that I didn't really think of while watching the movie, but now I can't really get it out of my head. And I suppose this could be potentially a mild spoiler. So I just want to warn you, I think this is a very mild spoiler. I don't think it's really that important, but just in case, that's your warning. Very mild spoiler. From the very beginning of the movie, we understand that Mulan has a lot of stored up chi. She's very powerful, and she's told by her family she needs to hide that and marry a man and be respectful. We understand from the get-go, from the first few scenes, that as a young girl, she had a lot of really incredible abilities. When she goes off to war, she's still trying to hide that power, and eventually she unleashes it. She strips away her father's armor and rides off into battle in a red gown with no armor of any kind. The message, of course, could be interpreted in a lot of ways. One of them could be that you shouldn't hide your inner beauty. You shouldn't hide who you are, your abilities. You shouldn't try to conform to what the world wants you to be, and you should let all that shine and be yourself and not allow someone to tell you that you're inferior just because they think you are. That's all great. Great stuff. Problem is, this film says, yes, you too can do all of those things if you're the chosen one. If you have magical, hidden powers that you have been told to not reveal to anyone since you were a child. So my wife said the film actually made her feel more alienated than included. Because instead of a regular girl training her body and her mind to get to the peak of her potential and achieve what no one else could in her time, we have a character that's done from the start of the movie. And all that's left for her as a character is to choose to no longer hide that, which isn't a very emotionally investing arc at all. There's no real emotion to it. It's just like a Hallmark card that says you can do whatever you want and follow your dreams. It doesn't actually mean anything. You have to legitimately work hard to achieve these things. And I don't like how Disney's doing this trend lately where people just are magical from the get-go and they never have to train or work or learn or anything. They're just fucking magical, and so the film's message feels very watered down in that regard. Also, the CGI at times can be very distracting. The film uses a lot of computer-generated lighting techniques, I believe, and so certain shots look very artificial. The battle sequences are over-edited, and unfortunately, the acting can be very wooden. Certain people are a standout. Gong Li is very good in the film. Jet Li is also really good as the Emperor, but the lead actress, unfortunately, is very blank and sort of wooden throughout most of the movie. In certain scenes that you want her to really be expressing how important these moments are to her, I just didn't really feel that. I admire Disney for trying to do something different. They didn't just make a shot-for-shot version of the original movie, but all of the choices they made felt inferior to that original film. I'm going to give Mulan a C-. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching. Look forward to more reviews very soon. And if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.